Sis and Ted, a whole lot of talk about a whole lot of nothing. Sis and Ted, a whole lot of talk about a whole lot of nothing.
Hey, Allie.
Hey, man, what's going on?
We have 5 minutes to do our podcast because I got to go to the grocery store and buy some bread.
Because it's going to snow, and we know this is all ploy by the national grocery store chains to make everybody go buy eggs, bread, bananas, and their favorite chocolate. So get at it, people. Well,
Toilets,
this has
don't
been a
forget about-
great podcast.
Thanks for listening.
I was going to say, since last week, we heard from two of our super fans, Elise and Stacy, who both sent me text messages with a picture of their Cuddle Duds tags because we're all the same age. And they're like, I'm still wearing my Cuddle Duds, which I thought was hysterical. And now this is the week you really need your Cuddle Duds because it's going to be freezing.
I have my Cuddle Duds. His name is Aaron.
That's your Cuddle Dude.
Oh, my Cuddle Dude. You're right. That's a little different.
By the way, I was thinking this morning because of all of the reports or predictions, who knows, false or valid, of snow this weekend in the southeast, which of course just the threat of icy or snowy conditions, it makes everybody panic, and we'll be hibernating for the next 5 days, whether there's rain, snow, sleet, or not. But all this to say is it made me think about when we were growing up, and that snow days were magical.
Oh, yeah. But I also had to wear your hand-me-down snow clothes because it snowed so infrequently in Birmingham that it's not like mommy needed to buy new clothes. She just put me in whatever fit you and Stuart at one point when you were my age. And I have a distinct memory of it snowing, and it probably snowed like 1/8 of an inch or something, but we're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, it's snow. And I remember being out there and wearing like old jeans of yours that had like an elastic waist, and they would not stay up on me. And you and Stuart kept on throwing snowballs at my butt. So it was like getting into my pants. And we didn't have sleds. We would use garbage bags to go sledding.
Anything. Right.
Cardboard.
Yeah, we're basically turning our front yard into a slip and slide on the snow.
Yeah, we luckily had a very good steep front yard that allowed for some sledding.
Yeah, but here's what I also remember. I remember the power went off more times than not. I don't know what was going on back then, but every time it snowed or where there was a heavy thunderstorm, the power went off. But when it snowed, that was an excuse for mommy to light the fireplace. I think this is where I must have inherited my, obsession with fire, because I love we have a fireplace. I know I've discussed this, a working fireplace in our house, which I actually didn't get working until COVID, when I was stuck in my house for so long that I was determined to make it work. And so I love fire, and she'd light the fire, and if the power went out, we would use the gas grill outside, or we would even put stuff inside on that fireplace. And then all of a sudden we were willing to walk miles in the snow just to be with people, because I used to walk to Valerie Morrison's house. And I don't know if you remember where she lived.
That's very far for a walk.
It is so far. Not only that, is that imagine that we live on the top of a mountain. It's not really a mountain, but it's as hilly as you can get without it being a mountain. So Valerie's house was at almost the bottom because it was on Overton Road. No, was it Overton? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was like the middle of Overton. I would walk all the way there. It must all the way downhill. So getting there was so
How long
easy.
did that take? That sounds like a 3-hour trek. It's like Lord of the Rings. I'm picturing you.
No, it was not 3 hours.
Mommy,
it might have taken 35 minutes, 40 minutes.
I cannot picture mommy and daddy letting you do that walk, because there's did you call when you got there? Did you have like a CB with you?
I have no idea, but I know I did that walk not once. I mean, multiple times. And the other beauty of it is, like, once I got there, I'm sort of like, I think I'll just stay, because walking backwards really would have been like the 3-hour trek, because it was 100% uphill. And I'm not talking just, little rolling hills, 100% steep uphill. And I don't remember ever walking back home. But I remember walking there every time it snowed. I'm like, going to Valerie's, and I would just take off. So it was so much fun.
When I was about 14, there was a huge blizzard in Alabama, and we knew it was coming, and I decided to go sleep over in Dunbarton. And that's the little area of this place where we grew up, Mountain Brook, where a lot of people from the Jewish community live in this area, at least a lot of my friends.
Oh, come on. Everybody lived there. That was the area
Everyone
to
except
live
for
in.
us. And it
Yeah.
was further than Valerie's house. It was like Valerie was like the halfway point between
Yes.
us and Dunbarton. So I spent the night there. I spent the night with my friend Rachel, and then I realized I could just go hop to different people's houses. So there was, I mean, it was like feet and feet of snow. There was no driving on it because it was horrendous,
Yeah.
and we don't have snow trucks or salt trucks to clear anything. So as you can imagine, no one even has a shovel to shovel their sidewalk. Like
Yeah.
that equipment doesn't. Maybe now they have one truck in all of Alabama. Who knows? But so the next night, I spent the night at another friend's house who look, I feel like, how old are we? 35 years has passed, 34. I feel like I
Yeah.
could just say names about what happened when we were 14 at this point. So I'm just saying, I
Okay.
spent the night at Julie's house. And I spent the night at Julie's house, and she had a huge gaggle of girls over there. There must have been like 8 girls, and we spent the night in Uncle Ed's study in front of the fireplace. Now,
Yeah.
keep in mind, I didn't go to school with any of these girls. I didn't really know them. I knew them tangentially through Julie, but this was like her larger group of friends. And it quickly turned into a nightmare because one girl, they'd spent so much time with each other. One girl would leave the room, they would start talking about her, and then she'd come back in, and then another girl would leave the room and they'd start talking about her. And I was like, I had no idea what was happening because I didn't know any of the tea. I didn't know any of the dynamics. I was just listening, and it was not interesting to me like a reality TV show would be. It was more annoying, traumatic. I don't want to be a part of this. I'm trapped in the house with these gossiping girls. Like I was like, I just couldn't. I was like, they don't even know me, and I'm pretty sure if I go to the bathroom, they're gonna talk about me. So I was like, how do I get out of here? So the next day, I walked to our cousin's house, the Greens, because they lived up the street, and our
Yep.
cousin Scott, who is your age, Allison, as you know, but everyone else doesn't. he luckily was there, and let's see how much. So Scott, y'all are 7 years older than me, so he's like 21, right? I
But
don't
hold
know what.
on, and let's do a quick plug
Yeah.
because Scott would want this. Scott and Kathy Green, they founded and own a company called Pucker Powder. So all of you people listening, if you've ever seen one of these machines, it looks like what do they call it? Like
Sand art,
yeah, it
pixie
looks like
dust.
sand art, but it's actually sugar, and they
Yeah.
usually have them at cruises or Disney World or
Or
big
candy
candy
shops.
shops. Yeah, that's Scott. Scott from
Yes.
this story.
Creative
Yep.
Creative Concepts is actually the name of the company. Pucker Powder is one of their brands.
Yeah. So when you see
So
Pucker Powder, you can say, "Hey, that's Amanda
he's
and
the
Allison's
candy guy. They
cousin. He's the candy
manufacture it.
man."
It's manufactured in Irondelet, Alabama,
There it
or
is.
Irondale,
Irondale.
or
Yeah.
Irondale.
He's our Willy
So
Wonka. Okay, keep going.
so thank God Scott had like a Jeep with a stick shift Jeep that could drive on snow, and he got me as far as he could. He got me a little past the high school,
Okay.
and which is like the halfway point between us and Valerie, right?
Correct.
And then his car couldn't do any more.
It
And
is so much. I can't believe he got you all the way there.
it was incredible. And I was like, I will walk the rest of the way. And when I say walk, like I really needed snowshoes, like the kind with the like in Antarctica where it looks like the tennis rackets. Cause I was like, I had to like lift up my leg and put it down to get through the snow. It wasn't like I could walk normally. Like I was like, it was like climbing over drifts and drifts of snow. At one point I got a little closer and realized I had just walked over a down power line.
Oh
And
my
like
gosh.
it was dangerous out there, but I got home and I got to the safety, and we had no cell phones. We couldn't like check in with anyone. We
Yeah.
were just like, and then I got back to mommy, and I think she was pretty pissed that I decided to sleep out.
Well, have we discussed the one you weren't in the car with us, but when we got picked up at the Jewish day school by mommy and got stuck? Were you with us?
I don't think I was, but Mommy, I think, loves to tell this story.
It is my favorite story, and I'm just gonna err on the side of
Yeah.
repetition because
Yeah.
if we haven't shared it, it really is one of our best Goldstein stories. So this is, memory is a funny thing, but we were definitely in school, and it definitely started snowing. And at this time, it's not like now where we're predicting weather days or weeks in advance. Like this is like, oh, it's snowing now, and Mommy, probably just left work, ran to the Jewish day school with the station wagon and threw all of us and as many kids as she could fit in this car that was probably part of our carpool. And she made it so on the other side of the mountain. And we made it probably about 5 miles from home, I would say. And
That's far.
it was pretty far. And then I don't know what this hill is, but close enough, in
I can
spitting
see it.
distance, probably half a mile. I'm going to tell you, nobody else understands this unless you're living in Birmingham, but half a mile from the fire station that we used to go visit on July 4th. You know what
Mhm.
I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That cute little fire station. Okay, so we're on the other side of that, but down this hill. She made it as far up
It's
this
like
hill as
near
you can
Cherokee
get.
Bend, right? It was on the
Sure.
Cherokee Bend
Yes,
side.
right
Yeah.
past there, right past
Yeah.
there. So we get out of the car and we do not have the right anything on because even if we had what you would call, snow gear, it was not snow gear. We lived in Birmingham, Alabama. We never went
Right.
skiing as a family. We didn't have the right gear at all or coats. We definitely didn't have it that day. So, of course, Mommy says, well, we don't have a choice. We have got to go knock on a door and get warm because we're just not going to make it. So we find this so friendly, kind, welcoming woman. He invites us into her house. She feeds us all hot chocolate. I think she's basically outfitting us with whatever gloves may fit and hats and scarves. I mean, couldn't have been nicer. And then Mommy decides, what year? She must have been, I'm trying to figure out how old I was. It wasn't, if I was 10, right? Mommy was 35 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
this is,
if I was in the car, by the way, which I probably would have been in the car, like I couldn't have been left somewhere. I went to preschool at the JCC, which is where the Jewish day school was.
yeah.
So she probably
So
had. I
maybe you were
probably
there too, but you were
let's just
3. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
picture also her with a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
So
So if you're
that's
there, you're tiny. And then Mommy decides we can do this. It's actually not, as the crow flies, it was maybe a mile, but like this is again up and down major hills, especially for young kids who do not have proper gear and are walking in snow. But she's like, we can do this. We can walk
you probably had
home.
Ziploc bags around our feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what Southerners use for snow gear is Saran wrap and Ziplocs.
Yeah. And to be fair, when it's snowing, it's actually not that cold. Because it's got to be 32 degrees. It's not like 9 degrees. So
Right.
relatively speaking, it's not that bad. You're getting wet. It's actually beautiful. It's kind of fun. Also slippery and also hard to
And
walk
we probably
uphill.
thought it was novel, you know?
We thought it was great, probably for the first 7 minutes of the walk. And then I can only imagine her with this gaggle of kids walking uphill in the snow with no end in sight, with a promise of like, we will be home eventually,
It's
right?
like the
And it was
Donner
so
Party.
far. Yeah. It was so far. And also when you're a kid, you have no sense of how far anything is. I just got in the car and then 12 minutes later, 25 minutes later, whatever it was, 2 hours later, we were
We showed up
somewhere.
places, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know which way. So Mommy could have said it's 5 minutes or 3 days, and it would have been like, okay,
Oh,
if you
all
say
right.
so. Yeah. So we were walking for, hours to get home, and not halfway there, but almost halfway there. We're finally on a flat part, and we saw something we hadn't seen in the whole time, which was a car. We're like, oh my gosh. And it's like being stuck, on a deserted highway or somewhere where you're like, what? On a country road. And you're like, there's a car and it's driving in the snow. So this car's driving very slowly, very intentionally, and Mommy's waving it down. And lo and behold, it's not just a car, it's someone we know. It is our across the street neighbor.
Across the street neighbor, I want to
Yeah.
emphasize.
Yeah.
Not
That
someone
is
who
very
lived
important. Yes.
a few blocks away, literally across the street.
Yes. Who was older than Mommy. So at the time, like my kid memory would say, oh, she was probably 80. In reality, she was probably 50.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
She
Yeah.
wasn't she was older, but like, everybody felt much older back then. So, Mimi, to put in context, when I was 10, was 58 years old, right? She was Alan's age at this
Yeah.
point. So, nobody was really that old. So we stopped. What was her name? Frances? As long as we're throwing names out.
I
I
have to
think it
say,
was
Mommy had
Frances.
a different name for her that I don't think that can
Yes,
stay on
yes.
the podcast.
All right, let's name her Frances because she seemed like a Frances, whether that's accurate or not. And mommy is so happy. She's got this gaggle of kids. We're freezing. We're wet. We've probably got, to your point, Ziploc bags around our hands and our feet, and she's like, "Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, I am so glad." And we have been stuck. Our car is stuck. We're walking home. I've got all these kids. Can you take us back? And she says to mommy, no, I have been shopping and I have a lot of breakables in the car and I can't have anybody sitting here. And mommy's like, "Well, I understand you can't fit all of us, but how about just a few of the little ones or something?" "Nope, I just can't do it." And she drove away. Drove away. Drove off without ever turning back, without stopping a few, seconds later, regretting her decision. She just drove off. And I don't remember what mommy's face looked like at the time, honestly, but I can picture what her face must have looked like and how she
Hmm.
must have really been able to control herself in that moment of not wanting to cry or curse or both,
Right.
because that was a lot. Like if that had been me, I don't know if I could have
Right.
been, that measured, but we
Composured.
just kept
Yeah.
walking. We made it. The good news is I'm alive and well. We made it home. We probably had a snowball fight and
Yeah.
used our plastic bags to slip and slide down the front lawn and got hot chocolate, etc. All that to say is the next day, as the story goes, mommy was on our front porch or front steps, whatever, at the front door, and Frances happened to be out her front door across the street, and she says to mommy, "Arlene, you must think I am just such a witch for not stopping for all of you." And mommy just looked at her and said, "Yes, I do," and walked back inside. And, mommy's always one to diffuse any situation, to see the good in others, to be the eternal optimist, to say, "No, it's okay. I understand." But she couldn't. That's as much as she let her get under her skin. But I will never forget that story. And I'm like, you know what? Don't be like Frances. Be like mommy. That's the
Right.
that's the moral of that story.
Allison, you're always a great editor, writing and verbally, and I'm curious to know, was it really witch? Is that what she said? Because I feel like it was not witch. I feel like it was something else that rhymes with
Well,
witch.
Frances said that to mommy. I
Yeah.
think, oh, that's funny.
I'm just
I've
saying, mommy gave you a version that, I mean, and I really, knowing mommy, I don't think she told us this story until we were adults. She would have never told us the full story as kids. She would
yeah,
never have
yeah.
anything bad to say about another adult. So I don't think she said witch, though.
I'm laughing because this whole time I've always assumed Frances said witch because that's how mommy told it to us. But now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, she actually said the B word. And
Hmm.
mommy filtered it for me. I wasn't filtering it. I don't like to curse on the podcast.
Right. That's
Now,
why,
in my
yeah.
own life when I'm not being recorded, I'm fair
Yes.
game, but that is, I can't believe you just said that because I've never stopped to think about that. I got the diluted version of the story. Okay.
I'm
But
just saying, someone who is willing to leave her across the street neighbors in the
mhm,
snow like that is not using the word witch.
yeah, yeah,
She's using something else, that
yeah.
lady.
I think it was
Oh,
also such a disconnect from just, I think life back then, this was the early 80s or even the late 70s. It was, neighborhoods were important, community was essential, and Southern life, especially, was at the tip of that. And you just didn't meet a stranger. So to contrast that first woman who we didn't know, who didn't know any of us and welcomed us into her home and went above and beyond for people she didn't know, and then to see somebody you did know that you live next door to not only ignore your needs but to bypass them without concern. That was, I think, what hurt mommy the most, to see that
yes.
in real life. And I don't blame her, right? I think we see that today in more stark realities, and also because people are, have many more opportunities to share, those opinions, or to to show their true colors. But back then, there weren't that many situations where people could
Right.
really do that, and that was a disconnect from, I think, everything else we knew and grew up with.
As I usually say, I have no shelf to put that on.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Like when I see someone behave like that, I'm like, I have no shelf. It's because it's not furniture I would ever have.
yeah, yeah.
Right? It's I can't even comprehend. So continuing on with our weather conversation, I found the best TikTok account that everyone needs to follow for weather, and it's of this retired meteorologist, and
Okay.
his name in itself is going to make you want to follow him. His name is Hurricane Schwartz.
I think I dated somebody with that name. Wait, no.
Right?
Hurricane Schwartz.
Yeah, Hurricane Schwartz, and
Okay. I'm writing it
a
down.
picture a happier version of Andy Rooney, okay? And with less eyebrows, but but he's so adorable. He wears bow ties, and he's got on like a blazer and a bow tie, and he's sitting at his desk like at home. He's retired, and he's been giving meteorologist reports and trying to get people not to panic, because he's like, there's no, people are predicting how many inches of snow there are. He's like, you
Right.
can't. He goes, and people who are like, it's going to snow 1/8 of an inch. He's like, how do you measure snow? I'm going to tell you how. And he's so grateful that people are following him and saying sweet things, because he hasn't been on air in such a long time. But everyone needs to go follow Hurricane Schwartz.
Do you know where he lives? Where does he live?
So my understanding is he used to be the meteorologist in Philadelphia for the NBC there.
Okay.
And I don't know where he lives now. He may have retired there, or maybe not. That's all I know about Hurricane Schwartz. I mean, I can go I can go look him up.
The problem is I don't have TikTok. He's only on TikTok?
Well, he might be elsewhere. Oh, wow. When I followed him yesterday, he had 23,000 followers, and now he has 49,000.
Oh,
So
wow.
he went to Penn State. He worked for the Weather Channel. So maybe he's here, Philadelphia. I wonder if he lives in Atlanta now, because I think the last place he worked was Weather Channel. He did 27 years at NBC 10. I don't know. I need to find out what synagogue he goes to.
Glenn, would you like to come over for Passover, for First
Right.
Seder?
Are you giving
Shabbat
him that
dinner?
name? You're saying his name is Glenn Schwartz? You're like,
Oh, no.
it's a hurricane.
You know why? Because I was looking up, I was Googling meteorologists who have retired with the last name Schwartz, and I found a Glenn Schwartz who was the chief meteorologist in Philadelphia. So,
Oh, that's
just-
probably him. Hurricane. Yeah, there he is. He is on Instagram, but not active.
is it Glenn? No.
Yeah. No, you're
Oh,
right.
it is Glenn. Okay,
It's
good.
Glenn Schwartz, because his Instagram handle is Hurricane Schwartz, and it says Glenn Schwartz. He's
All right.
just not. Oh, he's only been married for 4 years. That's so cute. Married.
Well,
for,
this
who
is, they said, he was a chief meteorologist on NBC in Philadelphia for 40 years. He started in the early 80s and retired in 2022. That's his nickname, Hurricane Schwartz. He's known for no-nonsense forecasting, a trusted voice. And in Philly, he's one of the broadcasters where people say, if Glenn Schwartz is worried, we should be worried.
You
That
know
is so funny.
what we say? They may say that in Philadelphia, but you know what we say in the South? If Waffle House is closed, you should be worried. that Waffle House is our meteorologist here.
Absolutely. So I interviewed a gentleman who was a longtime broadcaster on our CBS channel here. He was on air for, oh my gosh, I think 45 years. He passed away 10 years ago. I got to interview him probably 16 years ago. His name's Luther Massengill of blessed memory. And he was known for two things. He was a very trusted meteorologist, and also he was a pet finder, not finder, but he would broadcast a missing pet and all
Right.
sorts of pets, so all over. But as the
Aw.
story goes, and I love
Yeah.
this story, so many people listened to him so intently and trusted him so much that years ago, right? Like this is probably in the 60s or 70s, he was on radio and there was a big snowstorm coming. And he said, well, let me tell you a little clue and a little hint, folks. He said, when the snow comes, it's going to be icy. But if you want to get a little better traction, just take a little air out of your tires and that'll give you more traction on the road. So this guy I know was listening. He said he's driving on one of the main thoroughfares. He said at that moment he pulls over. Every car on the road in front and behind him pulled over at the same time, took out their little tire gauge and let some air out of their tires. And they all looked at each other and said, Luther? And he goes, yep. They were all listening and they all did what he said. So it's just a great story back to, right? Like trust and community and small town. And so he was such, oh my God, a gem of a guy. I think he and Glenn, if they didn't know each other, they were two birds of a feather.
They have to know each other. Don't you think all of the meteorologists how many meteorologists could there possibly be? Right?
A billion.
They're not a billion.
So many. Yeah, but I don't think every meteorologist knows each other. They're not, unless they're Jewish.
Industry.
Every Jewish meteorologist definitely knows each other.
I bet every meteorologist around Hurricane Schwartz's age, they all know each other. Okay? Because there was less people being, they're weather girls, but they weren't the meteorologists. They were just reporting weather based on probably the nerds,
like
in the
a true
background.
meteorologist. You're saying.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I bet they do.
Do you think they went to meteorology conventions? Like,
yes, I do. I do think they went to. I bet there's a meteorology convention. Hold on, let me. Now's the time.
How about this? I predict that convention is held every spring in sunny Florida.
Let's see. And we haven't incorporated our best friend into this season's.
All right. Well, I already asked her, but we'll do an official segment.
Ask my best friend, what does she say?
And of course, this is when we ask our best friend Chatty G something that we don't know for ourselves, but I think you have an inkling. I don't really care, but I'm happy to find out.
Okay, let's see. Are there meteorology conventions? Okay, not only are there are a lot.
Well, there you go.
And that is a direct quote from Chatty G, both formal and informal. So there are scientific and professional conventions like the American Meteorological Society's annual meeting. There's one in Europe. There's a world one. And then there's specialized conferences too, dealing with severe weather or climate modeling, atmospheric chemistry. Like they get really specific. And then there's broadcast and media meteorology conventions. Okay. And
that sounds exciting.
And it gets more there's a lot. Oh my good. I mean, this just keeps on going. There's a lot. There's regional and niche ones. There's storm chaser conferences. It just depends on how you categorize a meteorologist. But a lot of these storm chasers there are. I've seen the movies. Okay, so
yeah, I get it. Me too. I love Twister. So I will just say you are right about Luther and Glenn possibly knowing each other because I did a similar search and I wanted to know how many meteorologists there are in the country.
Yeah.
And Chatty G said roughly 10 to 12,000, but that's divided into different groups to your point. So there's broadcast meteorology, government, private sector, academia. The broadcast meteorologists are only 2,000.
Okay.
And it says that of the 2,000 in the country, only a few hundred ever become household names in a single media market. Yes. So
that's why I'm saying they've probably been on a panel with each other. They know each other. I'm taking that as facts. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I did ask, I went one step further because I had to know. I asked Chatty G, do you think Hurricane Schwartz and Luther Massengill knew each other? And she said they might have known each other professionally, but not necessarily. So who knows? But back then, there were probably even fewer, meteorologists and people who knew each other.
Well, I'd say chances are sunny. Well, thanks for listening to the latest Sis and Tell podcast. Don't forget to share us with your friends, share us with your family, share us with your foes.
As always, this has been Amanda and Allison with a whole lot of talk about a whole lot of nothing. We'll catch you next time.